Welcome. I am Mr. Jackaroo, but you can call me Jack. I am here to explain to you Barricade. Barricade is a 4-player game played with dice and pawns on a special barricade board. Before you get into the game, you need to understand all parts of the barricade board. There are several spaces, zones and holes on the board. The outside zone, where pawns are placed at the start of the game. The track is where pawns move on and is shared among all players. The bottom row is the first row on the board track. Every player has a starting space on this row. The starting space is where players move their pawns into the board track from the outside zone. Each player has one starting space, which is the center space in front of their safety zone. The barricade space is where barricades are placed on at the start of the game. There is a total of 11 barricade spaces on the track. And finally, the final space is the last space on the track. Players move their pawns to land on this space. Barricade can be played 2 to 4 players. The matchups can be as follows. You can play individually or in teams. 2 players can play against each other. 3 players can play against each other. 4 players can also play against each other. The most common way to play is with 4 players in teams of 2. The game starts when players select the color of pawns. Each player has 5 same color pawns. Here is the breakdown of the teams. Red and yellow are Team 1. Green and blue are Team 2. Any player can start the game. Or you can roll the dice and whoever has the highest roll can start. Turns go from left to right. Red will begin. He will roll the dice. The dice lands on a 3. The player chooses any pawn to play. Players can play only one pawn at each turn. His pawn will enter the track through the starting space. He counts 3 spaces in the left direction. Pawns may move in any direction. They can go left or right, forward or backwards, but can only go in one direction at a time. Barricades are placed on the barricade spaces at the start of the game. Pawns cannot pass or skip over barricades. In order to pass barricades, players have to land on them exactly. When a pawn lands on a barricade, the barricade is removed. And the player can place it anywhere they want on the track. Except on the bottom row. And of course the final space. Player aim to place barricades on spaces that hurt their opponents, but also doesn't hurt them and their teammate. Pawns can land on top of other pawns, meaning this pawn would be captured. The captured pawn would be placed back to the player's outside zone. This is a special move to play during the game. It helps you eliminate your opponent's pawns and it would protect your own pawns from being captured. You can also capture moving backwards. Here's an example. The dice rolled at a 4. And red moved 4 steps backwards, capturing green. Pawns can pass over other pawns, including pawns of their teammates and their own. This gives you more flexibility on the track. Let's take a look at some gameplay. Green and yellow are working their way up the track. Blue is also in the race with them. Red's pawns are behind. Sometimes you have to be patient until you roll the right number. But you also need to find ways to make use of any number you get. Being behind doesn't always mean you are losing. Sometimes players moving up is also clearing the way for you. The best strategy is to take advantage of all your pawns. Your pawns are your weapons and you need to use them wisely and collectively. Strategy is important in this game. Working with your teammate is the key to win. Teammates work together to reach the final space, eliminating opponents' pawns and clearing barricades out their way. Let's take a look at the ending of this game. Red and yellow have multiple pawns near the final space. They just need to clear this final barricade. Yellow rolls a 2. And lands exactly on the barricade. Blue plays his turn. Now red just needs to roll a 6 to win. Red rolls a 6. He places his pawn on the final space and wins the game. Team 1 are the winners of the game. And here you go. You got through barricade explanation. Congratulations. Now you are ready to play. Make sure you win. Because losing will suck. Thank you for listening. Check out our shop and add Barricade to your game collection. You're about to have an amazing time with your friends and family. And don't forget to follow us on social media. See you next time. Go Barricade!